What's the deal? What's going on? Well, I've talked to Respect the Pact on Friday, and literally they didn't get to even send me this trailer until like midnight on Thursday before we had came out here to Too Many Games. That's how busy they've been. They're working hard. They've made a commit to me that by the end of this coming week they will have this episode done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if they can hold to that. If they can, I'll be giving more information on my channel, DSPGaming, on officially when we will be releasing it. But I can tell you this, it's going to be by the end of June. So episode 4, Project 7, will be coming by the end of June. Now, we talked a little bit about this on my channel, but I want to make it public to everyone who's interested in the series. Like I said, we're slammed with our own lives. This is a series we enjoy doing, but this isn't our full-time focus. And it's taking a lot out of us, especially Respect the Pact, who end up doing the majority of the workload when it comes to the filming, the editing, and so forth. So what we've collectively done is we got together and we talked a little bit about what we want to do with the series. And it looks like what we're going to be doing is taking a little hiatus for a couple months, starting in July. So July, August, you're not going to see any Project 7. It looks like we may start filming episode 5 of Project 7 in probably September, I would say. This episode, I'm going to make a very strong effort to make it not only the best episode, but I'm actually looking for like official filming locations that I can rent to do. Everything else we've done, you've seen us filming in our backyards. That was actually, some of that was filmed at a school, at Howard's place, at my place. You know, this is how we put the series together. Now we're like, you know what? This next episode, we're going to be real serious about it. We're going to try to buckle down and do something really nice for everyone. So that's where the series is going. And being that we're going to be filming in September, the episode's probably going to be released around the end of October. And if you know what's around the end of October, then you probably know what the theme of this episode is going to be. Halloween. Okay? Shut up. So that's where we're going. And that's pretty much the story with Project 7. We've also been tossing around a couple ideas of possibly doing a holiday-related episode come Christmas time, which I think a lot of people enjoy that kind of stuff. And we may be doing something like that. So that's what we have in the works for Project 7. A little bit of a hiatus for the summer, but we'll be coming back full force. This next episode, we're going to try to go all out. And it'll probably be coming about around the end of October. Okay? So that's pretty much all I have to say. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out to this panel. I mean, the room's almost full. This is amazing. I did not expect this many people to come out. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming out and attending. I do want to let everyone know that when this panel ends, from 3 to 4 p.m., we're going straight back to our booth over in the marketplace, and I'm doing an autograph session, all of us. So anything that you have that you want signed, I don't care what it is, I'll sign it. All right, probably shouldn't have said that, but...
I got something for you to sign.
So we'll be doing that from 3 to 4 p.m. Also over there, if you haven't had a chance to even check us out over there yet, we got Project 7 t-shirts. We unfortunately have sold out of the John Rambo Presents the Show t-shirts, if you can believe it. They were a hot commodity, and we're out for now. I don't know if John has any plans on in the future to do a second run. I guess that's his judgment based on demand. But we also have OJ's candles, video game related candles, and beverage related candles, which actually some of them are really cool. They have like, you know, gaming characters in them, so you can go check those out. And also Panda Lee has some gamer earrings, which she has created. Right now she is modeling the Pac-Man cherry earrings for you, but she has many more styles over there at our booth. So come by, check us out, just say hi. And, you know, we're very open to talking with people. It's not like we're some of the people, oh, you know, sorry, the line's too long. You know, to chat with you, anything you want to get signed. And yeah, we'll be here for the rest of today. We're going to be attending the Mini Bosses after party across the street tonight at Arnold's Family Fun Center. So if any of you who got those VIP passes, you can check us out over there. And we'll be here for a little bit tomorrow. We're not sure exactly how long we'll be here. It all depends on you know, how many people are here and such. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for all that I have to say. Like I said, it was an abridged version. I don't want to go too long because I know a lot of people have heard me talk about 20,000 times on YouTube. So you don't really need to hear too much from me. But what I'd like to do now is open up the floor to Q&A. Anything that you guys would like to ask us. And I think John's preparing here. And yeah, so let's go. Anyone have a question? Yes, sir.
What kind of camera do you use?
What kind of camera do I use?
Sony DSC-HX1.
The Sony DSC-HX1. The reason I use that camera is because the file sizes when I record footage are actually relatively small compared to other cameras. I have tried other cameras like Canons, I had a Nikon, and I actually have another Sony that records in 1080p, but the file sizes are huge on those cameras, and trying to upload to YouTube can take so long. I mean, I have enough problems trying to upload the amount of videos that I upload in a day, so this one is like a combination of really good quality, 720p resolution, and the files are a pretty reasonable size. Another question, anybody? Yes, sir?
What has been your favorite game throughout the years?
Throughout my entire time like my whole life? Wow.
Oh, we've been here for a while.
Obviously being that I'm a competitive Street Fighter player, I'm gonna say Street Fighter. My favorite Street Fighter game is Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, simply because that's the one I was really good at. That's the one that I was winning tournaments in. And I also feel it's like the purest game. It invented a lot of the things out there, like the super meter. You know, some of the combos and links and things. That was the first game where professionally people started using those things in a tournament atmosphere. If you're talking over the gamut of all games whatsoever, role-playing games in general, JRPGs from like the 90s, like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, which I guess you would call 4 and 6 now. Chrono Trigger, Earthbound. I thought those games were amazing when they came out. Any game where you can invest in a story and really get to know the characters and you feel for them, you almost feel like they're real people by the end of the game, that's the kind of game I love. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is also up there for me. And a lot of people say, oh, 3D Zelda games, Ocarina of Time's the best. Let me tell you, I thought Ocarina of Time sucked because I grew up and played A Link to the Past. And that game was like the most amazing game for the Super Nintendo when it came out. It was groundbreaking graphics, great music, a story, an open world. How many games on the Super Nintendo had an open world that you could explore? I mean, it did so many things so nicely. And not to say that I'm trying to disrespect anyone who likes the later Zelda games. That game just did it for me. So it's hard for me to put my finger down and say this is my favorite game because I've played so many styles of games over my life. But I would say that those are probably some of the classics that stand out for me in particular. Yes, sir?
Any plans for another retro gaming week?
Good question. I talked a little bit about this in a channel update recently, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I can tell you right now, when I get back from Too Many Games this week, there are no retail releases or anything coming out. But I've decided I'm probably not going to do a retro week. What I might do is go back and finish up some of the things I haven't finished, which a lot of people have been asking for. But there are 2 weeks in particular in July. If I'm remembering off the top of my head, I think late July, like the 3rd or 4th weeks of July, there's like no real games coming out during that period of time. And I decided that I'm definitely going to do Mega Man X week. Because last week I did a Mega Man marathon. I played Mega Mans 1 through 6 on the NES. Amazing feedback from people. Loved it when I went back and played the classics. And people were like, well, Phil, you know, I didn't play the NES ones, but I grew up during the SNES era. Can you go back and play those? So over the past year, I kind of made it a mission to collect all of the Mega Man X games. And I actually have every single one now on the original consoles that they were made for. So that's pretty much what I'm planning to do in late July. I have some other things saved up, some other retro games as well that I'm interested in playing. But I'm not necessarily announcing, okay, I'm definitely doing those yet, but you can definitely plan for Mega Man X Week coming up sometime in July, late July. Yes, sir, back there.
How'd you meet your friends like Chris and John Rambo and OJ?
Various different ways. John Rambo and I actually met through Street Fighter. We actually had a mutual friend who I was actually going and attending tournaments who would travel together. And one day he introduced me to John, and we just went down into John's basement and played Super Turbo for like 4 hours.
It was love at first sight.
Yes.
And the rest was history.
Yes. And so it was just like a camaraderie. We both liked Super Turbo a lot. We practiced with each other because he uses a character that I don't, and I use characters that he don't. We made each other better by playing each other. And that's pretty much how I met John. OJ, I actually met through John. OJ is, a longtime friend of John's. I believe they went to school together and such, lived in the same neighborhood, etc. So that's how I met OJ. Chris, I met through YouTube, man. I mean, he saw my videos on YouTube, and last year, I believe it was at Kineticon, It was the first time I met him in person, and he introduced himself, and he hung out with us, and I do cooperative gameplay with him in certain games. Whenever there's a co-op game where I need a partner, and I don't really have any, like if John's not something he's interested in or whatever, often we do it. I think one of the most popular things we ever did was Black Ops Zombie Mode, which we did together, and for whatever reason, I mean, I think it's fun, but the views were like huge on that, so we're definitely planning on actually doing that again for Black Ops 2. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of my friends are people who I meet through other stuff, not necessarily related to my YouTube page, and they just kind of jump on with me and get involved, and it's a hell of a lot of fun doing what we do on YouTube, so it's fun to get involved and do that kind of stuff, and I think it's been pretty successful.